Thank you for the invitation to be here today. I'm very happy to share a bit more about Clear Rights, this project we recently started in Terre de Zone, Europe, in a big consortium that I will present a bit later. And please, Tamash, if you could move to the next slide. Before I start talking about Clear Rights itself, I'd like to very shortly share a few key information about our work on access to justice in Terre de Zone, Europe. So, access to justice is one of the main TDH programs at a global level. And to be really short here, really brief, what we do is that we encourage a restorative approach, and we are committed to change practices to ensure that every child has access to a justice that respects their rights and that is adapted to their particular needs. So we do that by fostering partnerships with national institutions, with European institutions. We do that by working on capacity building, on advocacy, on child empowerment, and throughout several projects and throughout several initiatives. I'm sharing on the chat now two links that I think that are useful for everyone to see. The first one is a policy brief we recently submitted on the framework of the consultation on the European Union strategy on the rights of the child for 2021-2024. This policy brief, it's called Just with Children, and it's about child-friendly justice for all children in Europe. So it's a very interesting resource to understand what we advocate for, what we stand for concerning child justice systems in Europe. And so this is very shortly about what we do in TDH Europe concerning access to justice. And in addition to that, I would also like to share the Justice with Children platform, which is a global initiative that we recently launched as well in 2019. About ending November this year, we'll have our World Congress on Justice with Children. That will take place partially in Mexico and partially online due to COVID-19 restrictions. And the topic of this World Congress will be access to justice for all children without discrimination. So we'll be tackling access to justice for children with disabilities. We'll be talking about racism in child justice systems and how to ensure that every child has access to a proper justice system without any kind of discrimination. So this is the short introduction I would like to do about Terre de Zone Europe and its access to justice program. So please, Tomasz, if you could go to the next slide. Yeah, we can go to the next one also. Sorry, one before that. Yeah, so thank you. I will present you now a bit about Clear Rights. That is a project we launched 2 weeks ago on 25th of January 2021. That is an European Union funded project on enhancing legal assistance and access to justice for children in Europe. And to give you, first, I'd like to present the project consortium, which is led by Terre de Zone Europe here in Hungary, and in partnership with Terre de Zone Romania, in partnership with the Alliance of Lawyers for Human Rights from France, with PILNET from Hungary, with DCI Belgium, and DCI Netherlands. So it's a big consortium. We are very proud to be working with these organizations, and I will present you a bit more on why we are doing Clear Rights, what are our objectives, what we will do. And just to give you a brief overview, our overall objective is to improve equal access to a lawyer for children suspected or accused of crimes through strengthening access to quality and specialized government-funded legal aid and pro bono legal assistance. And why are we doing that? I'm gonna quickly talk about the context and the background that we found in Europe that justifies this approach, that justifies the implementation of this project. So in Europe, children face many challenges in accessing specialized and quality legal systems. Legal aid systems do not always work effectively in every country, and when they do, they face challenges such as reduction in funding, which can lead to unavailability of lawyers to volunteer for legal aid, administrative hurdles, lack of proper and disaggregate data. So it's a very is not legal aid for legal assistance for children is not properly available as it should be in Europe. Also, the information available to children about their rights is not always provided in a clear and accessible language. Also, the question of language barriers for children with from specific groups such as children with disabilities, children from minority groups, from migrant backgrounds, and asylum-seeking children. So all of these challenges create barriers in a proper provision of legal assistance for children. Also, it remains difficult to connect the needs of children in conflict with the law with legal aid and pro bono lawyers willing to provide assistance. So while there is a lack of efficient cooperation mechanisms between civil society sector and the pro bono sector to provide quality legal assistance to children, to fill in gaps left by legal aid systems. And in parallel, lawyers sometimes they also lack specialization in child justice, and there are insufficient support mechanisms and trainings available for them. So Clear Rights will try to address this situation by proposing ways to enhance free of charge legal assistance for children through strengthening existing legal aid systems, as well as by bringing pro bono lawyers as new stakeholders to support the whole legal aid system and provide legal assistance to children in European countries that have not yet implemented comprehensive legal aid state-funded systems accessible to all children without discrimination. Besides that, if in countries such as Belgium and the Netherlands, there are clear accreditation processes for lawyers to make sure that they can work in a child-friendly manner, that they can provide proper legal assistance to children. There are no such thing in countries such as Romania, and Hungary to guarantee quality legal assistance to children. For example, in Romania, there is no network of lawyers specialized in on children's rights. So this is why countries such as Hungary have developed the concept of clearing houses to streamline the legal request placement process. So what is a clearing house? Clearing house. What does it do in concrete terms? The aim of a clearinghouse is really to promote access to justice and the use of law as a tool for furthering the public interest. It acts as a matchmaker, as a bridge between NGOs, between other organizations and individuals requiring legal assistance and lawyers who are able and willing to provide pro bono assistance. So how does that work in practice? Basically, an individual or an NGO or any kind of organization approaches this clearinghouse stating a particular need for legal assistance. And then this clearinghouse will address these needs with a network of pro bono lawyers who will then be able to discuss with that individual, with that institution. So it creates a bridge to match the needs of legal assistance. And PUNet, our partner here in Hungary, they have an existing clearinghouse operating online who provides where it's provided a standardized process for both sides to determine the legal needs and the nature and extent of the assistance required. So this is a bit the background and the context of Clear Rights, and I hope it was clear to you what we are doing and why we are doing that. And now I will explain a bit more about our activities and what we will do in more practical terms. So please, Tamash, the next slide. So Clear Rights focus in three key axes. There are research, capacity building, and advocacy. So at this first stage of the project, we will produce a report based on a review of practices and gaps of legal aid systems. So this will be basically our baseline to work on the project implementation. That will mean that we'll try to understand what is happening in Europe in terms of legal aid systems, what are the gaps, how can we help, what are the needs of professionals, what are the needs of children. So just to make it a bit clearer here, this report will be focused on France, Hungary, Romania, Belgium, and the Netherlands, but also with a broader European context, but these five countries will be the main focus. Based on the findings of these reports, also we'll develop and or adapt, because perhaps there are already guidelines available. We will develop these guidelines for legal practitioners on child-friendly legal assistance. And we will try to develop an accreditation criteria for quality legal assistance to children that will be translated in five European languages, meaning the countries that I mentioned a bit before. This accreditation criteria, it will be working closely with national bar associations, with national institutions, to make sure that they can guarantee legal aid, state-funded legal assistance for children in a child-friendly manner. We will also adapt and upgrade methodology and quality standards for child-friendly legal assistance to children, for legal aid and pro bono lawyers. So you see that these guidelines and the quality standards are closely connected. So please, Tomasz, the next slide. Also, as a result of this review of practices and gaps in legal aid systems, we will create a database of jurisprudence and legal fact sheets for lawyers related to child justice. This is all to improve the quality of the service provided for children when they have legal assistance. This is the main research and acts of the project. And just something that I forgot to highlight is that all of this will be done in close collaboration with children, directly with children. So we are here trying to make sure that children are empowered and that they have a proper right to participate in clear rights through our child advisory boards. So these are groups of children that will be working with in France, Hungary, and Romania. That will be kind of as a steering committee of the project. They will help us to youth-proof the materials that we produce, making sure that they make sense to to children's needs, that they are in a child-friendly language. They will also be producing advocacy and awareness raising materials by themselves with our support, of course, but this is really something that we want them to lead and to produce as they see fit, these kind of materials. And also the guidelines, the database, not the database, the guidelines, the accreditation criteria, all of this will be done in consultation and with the direct participation of children. As for the capacity building aspect of our project, we will review and adapt existing training packages and conduct face-to-face and online trainings. These trainings will be for both legal aid and pro bono lawyers, but also for law students. So we want to help build the capacities of legal professionals even before they become lawyers or they become judges or prosecutors. Really want to support this construction of education, this construction of knowledge, to make sure that the children will be accessing proper and child-friendly legal assistance in the future. And we will also conduct specialized webinars for lawyers in various themes, such as the ones stated above, on child rights, on child psychology, on the child safeguarding, child-friendly communication. So there will be webinars initially available in English and French, but we are also working in further translations. But these are the main activities of Clear Rights. And also besides that, as for the advocacy part, we'll have advocacy events, we'll have two regional advocacy events, and one national advocacy event per country of implementation. So in total, 5 national events. Tamas, if you could go to the next slide, please. Yes, so by doing all of this, what do we expect to do? We expect to increase the capacities of legal professionals working with children. We expect to improve the cooperation between NGOs and national bar associations and national institutions in the field of procedural rights of children suspected or accused of crimes. And also something important to highlight here that in addition, how we will do this improve the cooperation is that we will establish three more clearinghouses throughout the implementation of Clear Rights. We will establish one in France, one in Romania, and one European clearinghouse. So this will help building bridges between NGOs, national bar associations, national institutions, and civil society in general to help streamline and standardize the legal assistance provided to children. We will also establish an intersectoral network that will be a network for legal assistance for children, particularly for pro bono legal assistance for children. That will be a network with law firms, with bar associations, with child protection units. So it will be something that will definitely improve cooperation in Europe. And we also expect to have increased the awareness of policymakers and service providers on the right of children suspected or accused of crime to access quality legal assistance. So I'm very happy to see that all of this that we are talking here is something that we can relate to the work done by DCI Belgium in Palestine, for example, that we're trying to find ways to overcome the gaps in legal aid systems through the strengthening of pro bono partnerships. And that I'm very confident that this will be a very fruitful and beneficial partnership to make children's lives better and their access to justice more concrete and more child friendly. So if you could go to the next one, Tamas. Yes, this is the end of my presentation. I tried to be as brief as possible, and here are the organizations again that are together with us in this initiative, who are PILNET, Defense for Children Belgium, Defense for Children the Netherlands, Terre des Hommes Hungary, Terre des Hommes Romania, and the Alliance of Lawyers for Human Rights from France. So thank you very much for your attention. And please, if you have any questions in the end of the session, I'd be glad to answer them. Thank you again.